And joining us now is Barrister Fowles to get a legal perspective on the Rwanda situation, because the last night the Lords killed it for the fourth time. Welcome, Sam. Hi.
Hi there.
Why are you not here? You should be here with us.
I'm so sorry. I've got to go and be a barrister and do my job occasionally. I wish I was there with you.
Now, listen, what do you think about what happened last night?
I think there's two very sensible amendments. The two amendments the Lords made was, number one, there's got to be an independent check on whether Rwanda is actually safe, which seems entirely sensible. Ministers the courts have examined it in great detail and found that there was real risk that people would be sent back to places where they were in danger. Ministers have just asked us to pretend that didn't happen. And so what the Lords said is no, we want an independent check to make sure this is real. And second, to exempt people who have assisted the UK armed forces from the Rwanda scheme, which again I think is absolutely right. I think if people have been put in danger because they've been assisting British forces, then it's absolutely right that we should do our part and protect them.
Sam, I don't know whether you heard Lord Marland, who was on the show earlier. He has been to Rwanda. He cannot understand these claims that it's a dangerous place. He said it's a fabulous place. He said, and it's hardly a deterrent. He said it's so lovely. Why is everybody pretending it's this dangerous hellhole? It might have been 30 years ago. It's not now.
Well, I mean, obviously, it's the ministers said the same thing about communist Russia, didn't they? When ministers were sent over to communist Russia, and they gave them a wonderful time, and they came back saying, "Well, communist Russia is brilliant, isn't it?"
Come on, Sam, you can do better than that.
Yes, that's not. You can do better than that.
You can do better than that.
But let's talk about the reality of Rwanda. Before this plan was put in place, the UK government was saying that Rwanda was not a safe place, that it practiced torture, and the opposition members of the opposition were in danger from political attacks. The government changed its mind when the ministers put this plan forward. In addition, it was only a few years ago that refugees in camps in Rwanda who were protesting against their treatment were met with gunfire from Rwandan security forces and simply shot. So Rwanda has a history of, and a very recent history of murderous treatment towards refugees and opposition leaders.
Sam, you know that this year, the United Nations, no less, that great bastion of liberal philosophy, has sent around 1,800 refugees from Libya to live in Rwanda. If it's good enough for the United Nations, a body I know that you think is rather good, body I'm not so keen on, if it's good enough for the United Nations, why isn't it good enough for us to send illegal migrants to Rwanda to have their applications processed?
Because the United Nations is not leaving these people at the mercy of the Rwandan government. The United Nations has sent people to UN-run refugee camps and UN-protected refugee camps. Now, if that's what we were talking about, if we were talking about sending people to live in the custody of a UN facility, then that's one thing. But we're not. We are doing something entirely different, which is leaving them with the Rwandan government, which is the same government that has a history.
Yeah, 30 years ago, Sam.
Yes.
30 years ago.
Not now.
Not now.
Not 30 years ago. Not 30 years ago at all. We're talking about the current government, which has shot protesters. We're talking about the current government, which has wrongfully imprisoned
people watching will be thinking, you're being naive here. This is a cynical ploy by the Lords, by many on the left, to stop this, just for no other reason that they want to thwart the Tories. It feels to me like they're terrified it might work. Why don't they give it a go? Why don't they pass it and let's see if it works?
Well, the idea that if you are facing rape, starvation, murder, you're going to get deterred by the, I think, 0.4% chance that you might get
facing rape and murder? A lot of these people are economic migrants, and you know it. We see pictures of them every single day getting off their boats. They're men between 18 and 34. They're economic migrants. They're not people fleeing war, rape and torture.
Well, that's not actually the British government's view. The British government gives gives asylum seeker status to the majority of people that get off small boats. So I can only go on what the government said, and they said the majority of these people are genuine refugees. But the idea that genuine refugees are going to be deterred by the 0.4% chance that they might be sent to Rwanda is for the birds. And in pursuing this this kind of flight of fancy, this really performative exercise, what we're doing is fundamentally undermining the rule of law, which says that if a court decides and makes a decision of fact, then that decision of fact stands. The government is asking courts to pretend that this decision of fact they've made has never happened, and sort of conduct business in this totally imaginary world.
Sam, can I just ask you if you've seen the latest figures on the racial background, the identity of the refugees crossing the Channel illegally, I might add? The fastest rising group now are people from Vietnam. Can you remind me what war is raging in Vietnam, which is driving so many of them into Britain, apart from the fact they think we're a soft touch?
Well, there is, of course, not a war going on in Vietnam at the moment, but that doesn't mean it's a...
So why do you think so many are coming here? Are there, what rape, strife and persecution are they fleeing from Vietnam? Because I think it's the same question we can apply to many of those refugees who are crossing the Channel. They are coming here, as Carol Malone said, because they're economic migrants. And we have talked on this programme to a human rights lawyer, a leading human rights lawyer called David Hay, who says only 20% of the asylum cases he deals with, in his view, are genuine. Yeah. Only 20%. He said it on the record on this programme more than once. He won't be alone.
Well, that's not what the government itself.
Well, hang on, that's what he said, and he's at the cutting edge. He's not sitting in your posh chambers in Chancery Lane, Sam. He is dealing with refugees all the time. He said only 20% of the cases are genuine. And
remember, Pearce's paper did an expose on some of these lawyers that are actually dealing with the refugees. They're coaching them. They're coaching them to lie. They're coaching them to say exactly what you just said: rape, torture, murder that they're victims of.
Well, those lawyers were quite right, and I was, don't get me wrong about this, I was incensed. And
you don't think that they're the only ones, though, do you? There will be more.
They should be out of the profession. But again, all I can say is what you're doing here is sort of pulling up individuals, right? And so you can pull up some individual examples of migrants that were not legit. I can give you individuals examples.
80%, he said. 80%, Sam.
80%. Isn't it morally wrong to block attempts to stop this trade in human trafficking? And that's what the Lords are doing, and that's what the human rights lawyers in your profession are doing. They're resisting. They are.
They're not attempting to block it. So
9 people have died so far this year, and it's only April. 12 died in the whole of last year. Only nine so far this year.
Yeah, it's the Rwanda plan. It's like trying to stop murder by punishing murder victims. It's not punishing human traffickers. It's punishing the victims of human trafficking. So and I'm 100% on board. Let's address human trafficking. Let's address it by targeting human traffickers, not the victims. Let's address it by creating safe and legal routes for genuine asylum seekers. Let's address it by focusing all the resources, 1.8 million per person.
Yeah, but Sam, what about the elephant?
Those resources are actual things that are tackling the actual, not stunts.
Sam, what about the elephant in the room, that they're leaving France, a safe country, which is part of the European Union, which you're a huge supporter of? Some of them have come via Germany, another safe part of the European Union. They're safe countries. Why are they coming here? They're coming here because we are a soft touch. We don't turn them round. We don't turn the boats round. And I would argue it's very little to do with fleeing persecution, strife, murder, rape, as we've seen from the vast increase in the number coming from Vietnam. It's because they know when they get here, the border system is in such chaos, they're here for good.
Well, actually, the UK takes far less than its expected quota of asylum.
Who set that quota?
We're taking, so the
presumably you're talking about the EU quota, which we're not part of anymore.
No, I'm not. No, not at all.
Which quota?
Which quota?
UN numbers here. So the UN looks at what different countries can stand to take, and actually the vast majority of asylum seekers go to countries that can least afford to take them. So these are most.
So you think we should have more here?
So
Sam, you think we should have more here?
Yes, I think we should be doing more to do our bit because.
Right. Have you seen how many?
But he's lifting straight from the book of Keir Starmer, who says we're not doing enough. But this is a crazy. Do you know? Just last weekend alone, Sam, 750 people arrived on Saturday and Sunday. That's one weekend. That's replicating itself every day. Where do you think we're going to get the money to pay and house and take care of these people? The bill currently is nearly £6 billion to rehouse and resettle the people who are coming here. This is unsustainable.
Well, I mean, I tell you where we can get the money. We can cancel the Rwanda plan and stop spending 1.8 million per person. That'll be a good start. The rest of what we can do is to provide, integrate people in the economy, get them working, get them earning money, get them paying taxes, get them contributing to the country.
But what if they've got no right to be here? But what if they've got no right to be here?
Well, they've got a right if
they're illegal, if they've lied, they threw away their migration papers and their passports, why should we allow them to stay here?
Well, we shouldn't be allowing people to claim for asylum if they're not genuine asylum seekers. I completely agree with you on that. But again, most people in small boats, according to the government, are genuine asylum seekers. So I'm on board with that. If someone is saying I'm here to work, fantastic. If someone is saying I'm here because I'm fleeing persecution and I want to work, also fantastic.
Right.
If we can get right at the moment, what we do is we don't allow people who are claiming asylum to work at all. So we force them to be to live off the taxpayer.
All right, Sam. Pressure time. We're going to have to let you go. Sam, pressure time. We're going to have to let you go. Always good to talk to you.